Welcome to the Rainmaker Multiplier on Demand, a podcast for leading financial professionals, or rainmakers, and their teams that offer support for securing a successful future. From marketing help to staffing structure, listen and subscribe for actionable insights from advisors and skilled professionals alike.
Welcome to C2P's Coffee Break. We're going to be busting some annuity myths. I'm Kirsten Schlumbohm, Vice President and Head of Annuity Sales here at C2P. And I just want to take us back to the bucket plan training just for 1 minute. When we ask our clients how they want to guarantee their income, there's 3 ways to do so: bank CDs, government bonds, or insurance companies. A lot of times when a client hears insurance companies, they hear annuity and they go, oh my gosh, I don't want an annuity. And they tell you the story of something that they've had happen to them, their parents had happened to them, their great late uncle's girlfriend's brother had happened to them. So I'm excited today to have 2 of our subject matter experts on annuities with us. Stoyan Petev, our Senior Vice President of Annuities, otherwise known as Commander Upside Potential. Eric Langenfeld, our Vice President of Annuity Sales, and he is Captain Downside Protection. So today, we're going to go through some of the commonly known myths, give you answers and tools to help overcome those objections. If you have one that you get, throw it in the chat. Raise your hand. Let us know what you're hearing so we can help you help your clients have protected income, protected growth, and a peace of mind. So I'm going to kick it away right now. Hard fastball to Eric Langenfeld. Eric, I hear all the time that annuities are complicated. Is that true?
Yeah, it's really a tough thing to argue, right? Because some annuities do have some complexity to them, right? The way I view it, though, is that at its most basic level, an annuity is a set of promises made by the insurance company, and that it's to go along with that, there's a set of rules that the client is going to have to agree to follow in order to get those benefits. And our job as financial professionals in general is to make complicated things easy for people to understand, right? So I think that's a big part of what we're here to do. I think that's what the bucket plan's all about, right? We're taking financial planning and we're trying to make it easy for regular people to understand. So I think that we need to be sure that when we're picking out a product, that we're going to pick something that's going to fit our clients' needs, that it's best in class, right? Best in growth or features, and it doesn't have a whole lot of surprises in it. I think when people talk about complexity, they're really talking about the surprises, the things that they didn't know before they got into it. So we're in a great position to help people understand what's going on in those products. And I think we can really help solve for that complexity issue.
But Eric, when I say all annuities are complicated, they're all the same, aren't they? Whether it's with you or someone else, aren't they all the same?
I certainly hope not, right? Because I might be out of a job if all annuities are the same. No, I think we all realize how that's kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, if you compare a SPIA income annuity with a deferred fixed income annuity, they're completely different, right? They have completely different goals, completely different outcomes. And certainly there's a lot of different things that are going on within those products. It's our opportunity to help explain what the differences are and why you might want to pick one over the other in a given circumstance. I don't think there's really bad products. I just think that there's bad times to use them, right? And we want to help our clients kind of understand that.
And when we're talking about that all annuities are not the same, clients need to understand the depth of the annuity portfolio. We can go as simple as a SPIA where we turn on the income right away and they get that income stream, to a fixed indexed annuity where your interest is linked to an indice. You got a standard traditional annuity where you know your interest rate is locked in for 5 years, all the way to the complexities of a variable annuity. Now, that being said, Stoyan, you're going to be in the hot seat now. I love the brain on Stoyan. So Stoyan, help me answer this question that clients bring up. Annuities tied to the market or an indice means I can lose money. Is that true? Can I lose money in a fixed index annuity?
No, not in a fixed indexed annuity. In a fixed indexed annuity, what the insurance company does is invest all the premiums into bonds. And those bonds are earning interest. And all the insurance company does is just swaps that interest at the end of the year for the upside on a particular index. And you pick your index. There are so many different indices right now in the marketplace. There are over 150 volatility controlled indices besides your standard S&P and Russell's and international indices. Some people have gold. So there are so many varieties, but all the insurance company does is takes the client premium, puts it in bonds, invests it in bonds, and those bonds are paying interest, which at the end of the year is swapped for the upside potential on a particular index.
Hey, wait, though, Stoyan, does that mean the insurance company is keeping my money? Am I getting ripped off?
No, the insurance company doesn't care. The insurance company, they don't care which index you pick. They don't care which strategy you pick, because to the insurance company, when you put money into an indexed annuity, it goes into the same bonds that everybody else's money goes into. It pays out the same portfolio interest. The insurance company takes a spread off of that money for their profitability, and then they contact an investment bank, or with certain carriers, they do the option pricing in their own shops. And all they do is just swap that promised interest from those bonds to the upside on those indices. That's it. It's very, very simple.
But if I'm following the S&P 500 on my Yahoo Finance, and I'm in an S&P index, shouldn't it be the same? Shouldn't I have the same growth on my indexed annuity tied to the S&P as my Yahoo Finance S&P that I track?
Well, I wish it were that simple. There is a trade-off, right? The reason why you go into an indexed annuity is because of the downside protection. And in order for you to have that downside protection, you kind of give up some of the upside. And on any particular year, a certain index may perform better than others, but the trade-off is always there. I give up all of my downside risk in exchange for some of the upside potential. And if you follow the market logic that about 70% of the times the markets are up, then about 70% of the times you're going to experience some, or expected to experience, some kind of an upside credit.
So Stoyan and Eric, I've got a question I hear quite a bit when I'm talking with my friends about annuities. Not just in C2P. I do talk about this stuff with my friends. We're kind of nerds. But annuities seem to be really expensive and carry hidden fees. Can you Eric and Stoyan, can you unpack that for me? So I can better educate my friends.
Yeah, I don't like to pay fees, right? I do. I hear that a lot. And here's the funny part, right? The truth is there are annuities that have charges, right? I mean, associated with them. The ones that we tend to prefer are the ones that don't, right? I mean, we kind of sift through all of the different things that are available out there in the marketplace, and we prefer to steer clients towards products that are going to be free of charge, or if there is a charge, it's there for an important reason, right? We're choosing it because of a feature or benefit that we can receive that we can't get any other way. And I think in those cases, it gives us an opportunity to explain that to the client. Yeah. And why, right? Why are we picking a feature that's got a charge associated with it? Many of my favorite products, right? The index products that we love so much here, products from like the Allianz AAA or the Lincoln OptiBlend, they don't have any charges, right? We try to use those because that means they really do have a zero floor, right? If there's no interest crediting for the year, there's no charges, you just get a zero, right? The worst that happens is you open the statement and you have the same amount of money that you had last year, right? And we can kind of move forward with that. Stoyan, what do you think?
Well, when I hear people talking about fees, there's a big confusion in the financial press from what type of annuities they're talking about. Mostly they're referring to variable annuities, and variable annuities, everything is pretty much disclosed. You have the sub-account fees, you have the M&E charges, you have everything by prospectus, and if you want to add any additional income or death benefit riders, there are additional fees on top of that. So all of that is disclosed in the prospectus, and that's what most people in the financial press are referring to, and they don't know any better. Once you go into the fixed annuity space, going back to your comment, that if you want the income rider, you can pay for it. you can get an annuity that doesn't have any fee. There are some trade-offs for that from a cap point of view, but the only fees on fixed indexed annuities are if you surrender the contract and you experience that surrender charge. Outside of that, unless you want to pay for income, there are no other fees. And the two are very, very different from each other, because with a fixed indexed annuity, the insurance company takes the investment risk away from the client. And with a variable annuity, what happens is the client has all the risk up and downside. Plus, the insurance company is not gonna go without not making any money. So what they're doing is exactly that. They're charging for it.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a really good point, Stoyan, because I think when people ask that question or say there's hidden fees in annuities, the financial world lumps all annuities together. So again, we go back to the spectrum of a SPIA all the way to a variable annuity. And at the end of the day, when we talk about, is it expensive? What is the client giving up? If the client is giving up security of a downside protection to go into a VA, it could be expensive with your different charges. If you're looking for a systematic or cement floor, like our friend Greg Hammer says, that what you're going to give up is you're going to pay to have a peace of mind that in 10 years, your income is going to be this, but you're also going to give up a little bit more on the upside. So there is a depth to it, but at the end of the day, fixed index annuities were created to give a peace of mind, a sleep at night product to clients looking for safety, upside, and guarantees. But that being said, when we talk about safety, upside, and guarantees, I also hear, well, I don't have access to my money. What if I need access to my money now because of XYZ? Eric, what kind of benefits do we see to help overcome that objection?
Yeah, and that's a great point. Most annuities in general have some kind of a surrender charge, right? There's some kind of a fee that's in place, if you want to look at it that way. If you need to access your money, those vary greatly in terms of the length of time and also the strictness, right? How much are you allowed to access, right? Do you have a free withdrawal allowance? Can you get your RMDs out, right? And these are all things that we need to evaluate when we're working up what the best solution is for the client. What do you need in terms of access to the money? It is really a surrender charge is an incentive, right, for the client to keep their money in the contract. That's what it's designed to do. The insurance companies put that in place so that if somebody does want to get out early, they're going to be able to recoup some of the losses that they have for letting the client go at that point. I think it's really important that nobody is surprised by that or doesn't understand what's going on there. We need to tell them. We need to make sure that they have a clear understanding of what's going on. If they need access to the money, are there circumstances where they can have access? Things like if they end up needing to go into a nursing care facility, frequently those are free out, right? You have the ability to align those types of benefits if that's something that people are concerned about, right? So it gives us a little bit of flexibility there.
Kirsten, can I add a little bit?
Absolutely, Mr. Hammer. I always love hammer time.
All right. Sounds good. I apologize for being late. So if I'm redundant, I'll apologize again in advance. But I think the biggest thing that, when you talk about these issues and these myths is about how you're positioning the asset. I often refer to the bucket plan philosophy as an asset positioning plan. Once we have a purpose in our plan, what is the best asset to do it? So if somebody says, well, I want liquidity, well, then we're not going to use an annuity. That's not the purpose of that particular dollar amount. I think the biggest challenges in the industry is you have insurance people that have historically in the past committed way too much money to a restricted product, to a product that wasn't purposed, to a product that wasn't really a good fit. You could go across the thing in an industry where mutual funds, I can absolutely 100% tell you with unequivocal doubt that there are terrible mutual funds that people invest in. But you're going to tell me all mutual funds are bad. It's ridiculous, right? I saw a portfolio the other day. I was sitting with a client, and I am very rarely going to badmouth an advisor. This portfolio was so bad, I just was transparent. I had to do everything to keep my cool. There was about 6 funds in the thing. There was anything rated above a neutral, and there was 1 4-star fund. Everything else was 2 and 3 stars and negative. So you're going to tell me that that's a good position for those people to be in? No. So when we are going through this, the whole key to anything when you're positioning an asset is to understand what the client wants and tell them we're recommending this based on what you told me. concerns and priorities worksheet, right? So when we go in here, you're saying you want A, B, C. Well, if we want 100% guarantee, the trade-off is liquidity. If you want liquidity, the trade-off is guarantees. I generally find the combination works the best. And here's what we can do. And here's how we purpose assets. And this is why the soon bucket is treated entirely different than the later bucket. But if you're in that design process with a client and you're getting good information about concerns, goals, what their priorities are, what their needs are, what their liquidity things are, and you have all this, speak to it before it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
I love how Greg put it as an asset. It's a buffer asset. It's an asset in your portfolio to buffer your other investments, to buffer you in case of a downturn, to create that income floor, if you will. So yeah, it is an asset and it should be looked at as such.
No, I love that, Greg. Thank you for sharing. Because when we do the bucket plan process, we ask them how much of their money they would like to have guaranteed, what percent. So we're not the financial professionals out in the industry saying, I'm going to put XYZ, most of their money into an annuity. We're doing a holistic approach. So thank you for bringing that up. I do have a question from the audience. Seth Meisler has a question. I'm going to toss this one to you, Stoyan, because it's right up your alley. Are there certain types of annuities that are better in a high or low interest rate environment? Are bonds more attractive due to the liquidity versus the annuity? And I think Greg just answered that, but do you want to answer that question on certain types of annuities, Stoyan?
Yes. Yeah. So with respect to the interest rate environment, if in a low interest rate environment, you go with portfolio price products. And what I mean by that is insurance companies that credit based on a portfolio rate. And you basically carry the portfolio rate from years past with your annuity. As far as high interest rate environment, when you look at insurance companies' pricing, when they have a lot of budget to play with, not only are the guarantees better, not only are the living benefits better, but they also are able to provide higher caps. And because they have a higher option budget to play with, the index caps are also better. And you have seen that across the board over the last few years as interest rates have come up. The income benefits have gotten better, the caps have gotten better, and the products overall have become very, very attractive. So yes, in certain interest rate environments, if you're going to be looking at indexed annuities, you go with the ones that maybe have some of those balanced indices, some of those volatility controlled indices, because those work very well in a low interest rate environment. But if interest rates are high, as long as it fits in the plan, go at it.
Right. If you're looking for a drawdown, you're looking for the best drawdown product. So you're putting that money, so you're getting that systematic income for over 10 years to bridge you until you turn on your pension, your Social Security, or that guaranteed income stream through the lifetime income rider. If you're looking for a bond fund alternative because you don't want to be in bonds, we're looking at short duration, what can give us the best safety and upside. So again, it goes back to what's the purpose of the plan? If you're not sure, call us. We've got 3 people here who are very well-versed in indexed annuities. Another myth that we're hearing too, because again, these annuities today are not the same annuities that my grandma had or my uncle had. They're different. So Stoyan, can you talk to the point of where people are worried, well, the insurance company gets to keep my money if I die, because they aren't the same annuities as they were 30 years ago.
Traditionally, when I talk to clients about annuities, when you go through college and you talk about annuities, so you typically talk about annuitization options and a lifetime income stream and payouts. The annuities today are a little bit different in that you don't have to receive a payout. And the insurance company doesn't keep the money. The insurance company only keeps the money in the case that you do a life-only SPIA. And when you do a life-only SPIA, you're basically making a bet against the insurance company, against their mortality tables, that you're going to outlive them. And if you don't, the insurance company keeps the money. But in exchange for that, you get something very valuable, and that's the mortality credit. And the mortality credit is something that enhances your income payout. And especially for people that are striving for higher income and then they don't have enough assets today to generate that lifetime income, those mortality credits are very valuable. And in some instances, maybe you take that bet against the insurance company. The insurance company doesn't care if you do or don't. They have actuaries that price these things and they work on these things day and night. So to them, it doesn't matter. But if you don't take the lifetime payout, you get some type of a death benefit. And the death benefit could be the return of your premium, the return of your unearned premium, the return of some monthly payout. It doesn't matter. The insurance company will return a portion of that. But having that downside buffer, that lifetime payout in case you outlive the rest of your assets, is a very valuable protection for people. And I think Greg put it very, very succinctly by saying, what would you like your income floor to be, right? That's it.
And one of our purposes is to give clients confidence, right? So Deb in my office has coined a phrase, we'd like to give you permission to spend your money, right? But the biggest challenge for most people that come in our office, and I broadband this to every client as part of my conversation, is they're paralyzed. They're afraid to spend money because they don't know about the what ifs, the biggest what if being how long I'm going to live. So what if I gave you permission to spend your money today, and if you spent every dime and an insurance company was able to protect you, how do you feel about that? So we're protecting the backside so that you can spend money today.
I love that. So you bring the passion, you bring the drive. I love that you give your clients permission to spend their money. That is such a powerful statement. And I'm going to throw this one out to Hammer and Stoyan. What if a client says, that you kind of hit on it, Hammer, is that I can create my own guaranteed income stream through my investments and it'll be fine. I can play the market. Is that 100% accurate, 100% false, or is it a combination of both?
The way I typically answer that question, Kirsten, because I'm a nerd, is let's say I'm talking to a 65-year-old and they say I can guarantee my own income. Okay, fine. The only place you can guarantee your own income is with the government bonds. The longest government bond is 30 years. Let's say 30-year yields today, or let's say 5%. Let's not worry about commissions. At 65, you can guarantee that the 5% for the rest of your life. You're going to get your principal back because it's a government bond, right? After 30 years. Wonderful. What about annuities? If you compare that to an annuity, right now a 65-year-old can get maybe a 7.5% payout on that money. So you're getting a 50% bump in income right off the bat, and it's guaranteed for the rest of your life. And you pick it. There are only two ways you can guarantee money in this scenario: either government bonds or CDs, which pay almost nothing, or you can go to an insurance company and enhance your payout by close to 50% in this particular case. It's your choice. If you want to do it yourself, you're leaving money on the table. And going back to our earlier comment.
Thank you. Great information from the two of you. And we're coming up at the very end of our time together. Such a passionate conversation. I'm loving the fact that we've had interaction from everyone here in the audience. Eric, I'm going to throw this to you because right now there's a lot of talk about how annuities and insurance companies and advisors are getting fat off insurance products. So can you dispel the myth that clients are paying for their annuities? They're paying their advisors for the commissions?
Yeah, I love this conversation, right? Unfair commissions, right? They're too high. Advisors are making too much money. If a client ever hears about what actually gets paid out, but I mean, the truth is, you're going to pay me one way or the other, right? If we put your money into an AUM portfolio, you're going to pay me a fee every year to be there, right? I mean, that's how that works. If you go into an annuity product, I get paid by the carrier. It doesn't come out of your money, right? It comes out of the top. And in that scenario, essentially, this could be the cheapest investment you own, right? The annuity isn't going to cost you anything, whereas the stuff on the AUM portfolio would. So I think at the end of the day, you're going to save your clients money that way.
Wow. Thank you, Eric, Stoyan, and our super sneaky guest speaker, Greg Hammer. Always love having Hammer time. I think I've said that 3 times. I appreciate the knowledge that everyone has been sharing. If you've got more questions on how to overcome some of the objections you're getting on annuities, give us a call here on the Annuity Hotline. We're here to help you. Next week's coffee break, mentorship and tapping into thought leadership. I hope you can join us. And we look forward to seeing you here at the same time, same bat station for more learning, education, and hopefully excitement. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you by C2P, an organization whose purpose is to educate, train, grow, and support holistic financial advisors so families can achieve true prosperity. Never miss an episode by subscribing now to discover new resources and strategies. Visit c2penterprises.com to learn how we can help scale and secure your business. At the time of delivery and any subsequent publishing, information was deemed reliable, but is subject to change by the time of listening or viewing. The contents of this piece include options and projections of C2P, are subject to change, and are for informational purposes only. The information provided in this presentation is not intended to be individual investment, tax, or legal advice.